Looking for a great getaway? How about a day trip that's not far away and is sure to fit into any budget? Destination: the Rutherford B. Hayes Presidential Library and Museums. Fremont, Ohio, located in Sandusky County, is the home to our nation's 19th president, Rutherford B. Hayes. The Rutherford B. Hayes Library and Museums sits on a 25-acre estate with paved walking paths through majestic hardwoods and is open to the public year-round. We welcome visitors to experience the life of Rutherford B. Hayes by taking a guided tour of his 31-room mansion, complete with authentic furnishings from the Hayes family.
Hi, I'm Christy Weininger. I'm the Executive Director of the Hayes Presidential Library and Museums. In 2016, we completely redesigned all of our core exhibit spaces. So come on in and let me show you around. This is our 1876 exhibition gallery space. And the purpose of it was to celebrate the centennial of the United States. The centennial exhibition was to showcase to the world what the United States was all about, kind of the latest and greatest of things that were going on in the United States. And so we decided to start our story about Rutherford B. Hayes with 1876 so that you get a sense of what the country was like at the time that he was running for president. In this gallery space, the right to vote wall really talks about a fundamental principle of our democracy, the right to vote, and who has it, when did they get that right, and what impact has that had on our elections. Rutherford Hayes did not have an easy path to the presidency. It wasn't until the 7th ballot that Hayes actually secured the number of votes that he actually needed to walk away with that Republican nomination. Of course, on election day, there was no clear winner. It took a while for the dust to settle after a very controversial election process. Hayes did not win the popular vote, but Tilden did not win the electoral vote. And as we know from recent elections, the electoral vote is the one that counts. So the election went to an electoral commission that actually decided Hayes would be the 19th president. Hayes won the presidency by 1 electoral vote. One of the most interesting collections that we have here is this beautiful collection of china, but very unusual collection of china. This is the Hayes state china, so this is what they used for formal dinners in the White House. And Lucy worked with artist Theodore Davis to design pieces that highlighted the flora and fauna of the United States. So when someone sat down at the president's table, they could literally see what the United States looked like. The key feature here in the President's Gallery is a replica of the Resolute Desk. And this is the desk that the President uses in the Oval Office of the White House today. It was initially given to President Hayes by Queen Victoria. And it's called the Resolute Desk because it's made out of the timber from the HMS Resolute, which was a British ship that had gotten mired down in some ice in the Arctic and abandoned. Well, a couple of years later, a United States ship happened to be passing near the area, and the ship had loosened up. So the American ship was able to get the British ship out of the ice, and they returned it to England as a gift from the people of the United States. Well, Queen Victoria was so moved that when the ship was decommissioned, she had it made into a couple of desks, and she kept one, and the other was a gift to the United States. So President Hayes was the first president to sit down at the Resolute Desk and write a letter. And he used it for a desk for a little while, but then put it out in a public space so that people coming in visiting the White House could see it. But since President Hayes, every president, except for there were just a couple, but every president since President Hayes has used this desk in the Oval Office of the White House. These dollhouses belong to Fannie Hayes, the President and Lucy's only daughter, but it's more fun when you can actually get your hands in there and play with one. We actually have created a model of Rutherford and Lucy's house and turned it into a larger scale dollhouse that you can actually go in and play around with. This collection of weapons was assembled by Rutherford and Lucy's son, Webb, and he was a career military guy. And he fought in the rebellion in China. He stormed San Juan Hill with Teddy Roosevelt during the Spanish-American War. He also fought in the Philippine insurrection. So a lot of these things he collected during his world travels, but there's some very unique and very rare items in this space. So this is a fun piece that we have that doesn't have anything really to do with Rutherford and Lucy. It's just fun. This is a hand pumper fire truck. So this was used to put out fires. They would pump this up and down to get the water flowing. It's called the General Bell, and it was used by the Fremont Fire Department in the 1850s. We also included some local history because the Hayes family lived here in Fremont for quite some time. They loved Fremont. Rutherford and Lucy's daughter-in-law gave the initial major gift that got Memorial Hospital up and running. So in this space, we just kind of explain what the Hayes impact was on Fremont and what Fremont and Sandusky County's impact was on the Hayes family.
We invite you to find out more about Sandusky County and the Rutherford B. Hayes Presidential Library and Museum by visiting www.sanduskycounty.org. We will see you in Sandusky County.